Ancient 15,000-year-old viruses identified in melting Tibetan glaciers. Ancient species are emerging from the cold storage of now melting permafrost, like the opening of a horror film. From incredibly preserved extinct megafauna like the woolly rhino, to the 40,000-year-old remains of a big wolf, and microorganisms dating back over 750,000 years. They aren't all dead, though. In the warmth of the laboratory, centuries-old moss was able to resurrect. Similarly, small 42,000-year-old roundworms were discovered. These interesting glimpses of species from Earth's distant past are exposing the history of ancient ecosystems, as well as facts about their habitats. However, the thaw has raised concerns of ancient pathogens reappearing to wreak havoc. Melting will not only result in the loss of those ancient, archived bacteria and viruses, but will also release them into future ecosystems, researchers wrote in a new study conducted by Ohio State University microbiologist Zhi-Ping Zhong. The researchers are working on a deeper understanding of what exactly lies within the cold using new metagenomics techniques and new means for keeping their ice core samples sanitized, thanks to new metagenomics techniques and new methods for keeping their ice core samples disinfected. In the new research, the team was able to uncover an archive of dozens of distinct 15,000 years old viruses from the Gulia ice cap of the Tibetan Plateau, and acquire insights into their functions. These glaciers grew gradually, and many viruses were deposited in that ice along with dust and pollutants, Zhong explained. The team says in their research that these bacteria could represent those in the atmosphere at the time of their deposit. Microbial communities have been found to correspond with changes in dust and ion concentrations in the atmosphere, as well as climatic and environmental circumstances at the time, according to previous research. The researchers observed that 28 of the 33 viruses they detected had never been seen previously in these ancient archives found 6.7 kilometers, 22,000 feet, above sea level in China. These are viruses that would have survived in harsh circumstances, said Matthew Sullivan of Ohio State University, who discovered signals of genes that enable them infect cells in cold environments. Really weird genetic signatures for how a virus is able to survive in difficult temperatures. Comparing their genetic sequences to a database from known viruses, the scientists identified the most prevalent viruses in both ice core samples were bacteriophages that infect Methylobacterium, bacteria vital to the methane cycle within ice. They were most closely linked to viruses identified in Methylobacterium strains in plant and soil habitats, which supports a recent research that the main source of dust deposited on the Gulia ice cap is likely soils. These frozen viruses are most likely derived from soil or plants, and they help their hosts acquire nutrients, the researchers found. While the threat of ancient viruses is particularly concerning in the middle of a pandemic, the biggest danger comes from the vast reserves of trapped methane and carbon that the melting glacier is unleashing. However, it's evident that the ice could carry clues to prior environmental changes as well as virus evolution. We know very little about viruses and microorganisms in these severe conditions, and what is truly there, says Earth scientist Lonnie Thompson, who adds that there are still a lot of unsolved issues. What are the effects of climate change on bacteria and viruses? What happens when we transition from an ice age to a warm period like the one we're currently experiencing? There's still a lot to discover.